Welcome to the Valley of the Sun in Phoenix, Arizona, where the Blue Jays will move into Chase Field to take on the Arizona Diamondbacks in Game 2 of interleague play this season. Hello, everybody. I'm Buck Martinez along with Rance Mullinex. And Rance, last night we saw the Diamondbacks for the first time this season. And if you didn't really know any better, you might think that this Diamondback lineup was that of an American League ball club. They can really swing the bats.
Yes, they can. When you look at the power, the home runs, the doubles, the extra base hits, they would remind you much of the Blue Jays. If you look at their numbers, very similar, especially the runs scored almost identical. The doubles about the same. The Jays have hit a few more home runs, but boy, you look at these two ball clubs' offensive comparison, they are cut out of the same mold.
We talk about 8 home runs in the game last night. The Blue Jays hit 6 solo home runs. Edwin Encarnacion went deep 3 times. Second time a Jays hitter has done that this year.
And the first 2 traveled a long way, both of them about 450 feet. This is his second one. It would hit the second deck. And then he would homer again, his third in the 9th. Huge night for Edwin Encarnacion.
Well, the big thing about Encarnacion was he was batting 8th in the lineup. The pitcher was behind him. Plus, he also fell behind in accounts in his first 2 at-bats.
Yeah, 0-1 in his first 2 at-bats, but it didn't really matter to him last night. That's how well he was seeing the baseball. Let's see what they'll do this evening. He's hitting 8th again. I think tonight the Diamondbacks are going to be much more careful with Encarnacion.
Well, there were all kinds of home runs here at Chase Field last night. Fred Lewis started it off with a leadoff home run. Adam LaRoche had a 2-run shot. Encarnacion hit 3. Jose Bautista got into the act. Chris Young, the center fielder, went deep. Bautista with his 13th of the season. And just for good measure, how about a pinch hit home run off the bat of Adam Lynn just to top the night off? Game 2 of this 3-game series against the Diamondbacks, and the Blue Jays starting pitcher tonight is Dana Evelyn. Evelyn has done a pretty good job of pitching for the Blue Jays this year, but he's been really good on the road. He was especially good against the White Sox in Chicago last time he faced them. Very good, and he had an exceptional curveball, and a number of strikeouts would come with that pitch in that outing in Chicago. Get a good look at the breaking ball there. Dana Evelyn with a strikeout. Get Juan Pierre chasing a fastball down and away. Another strikeout with the curveball, and then when he was in a little bit of trouble, a good sinking fastball. He gets the double play, gets himself out of a little bit of trouble. And he has been very good so far on the road this year. When you look at the home-road splits for Danny Evelyn, his ERA almost 6.5 runs at home. Very good ERA on the road, and for whatever reason, he seems to be much more comfortable pitching away from the Rogers Center.
Definitely much more comfortable. An ERA of 2.95. Opponents hit just 2.06 against him on the road. The Jays will be looking for that type of performance here in Arizona this evening.
Dana Evelyn has pitched in the National League, so he knows what it means to hit and pitch. I asked him how he prepares for his start here tonight.
Honestly, I do my best to not think about the whole bat. Obviously, that's the last thing that I'm going to worry about. I mean, I'm going to go up there and I'm going to swing. I'm going to try and get a hit when I get up there or get my bunt down or whatever it is. But it's the last thing I'm thinking about right now. Obviously, preparing to pitch against this team. Obviously, got some pretty good bats over there, big swingers. So obviously, just got to get ready for them.
You have played in both leagues. Do you have a preference? Would you like to see baseball go back to traditional baseball with the pitcher in every game?
I mean, as a guy who enjoys hitting, yeah, I wouldn't mind. I mean, and obviously the DH is generally a guy who's a big bopper versus you get to face the pitcher. But, no, I mean, I play wherever you want me to. I don't mind. If I get to hit, I'm great. If not, then, more rest for me. So I don't really, have a preference, I'd say.
Dana, let's go back to the pitching side of things. Your first two games were terrific. What do you have to do in your own mind to get back to that point in the season here now?
I mean, obviously, as the season goes on, teams get more film on you, and they start, seeing your tendencies. They got numbers on everything, and, it's tough. You kind of got to do what you can to keep a mix and find a way to surprise teams, especially with my stuff. I don't have anything that's going to, amaze people. I'm not going to blow it by you. I don't have any kind of amazing breaking ball or anything like that. So I just got to keep a good mix. And, biggest issue for me my last couple starts has been, throwing strike one, and I've had a few too many walks. And so just, pounding the strike zone and let them put it in play for our defense to field the ball.
We're in Phoenix, Valley of the Sun, about an hour and a half north, the Red Rocks of Sedona. Great tourist attraction. When we come back to Arizona, it'll be lineups and first pitch. A lot of fans dressed up in 70s clothes, a lot of tie-dye, afro, hairdos. Everybody's getting into the spirit. A lot of great music also. Take a look at the Blue Jays lineup. Last night, Blue Jays lost 8-6 here in the first game of the series. Jose Bautista, over his last 9 games, has really pounded the baseball. 6 home runs, including his 13th home run here last night. Lind is back in the lineup. He's in left field tonight. Wells, Overbay, Gonzalez, middle of the order. John Buck is the catcher tonight. Encarnacion with the 3 home runs last night. He's back in that 8th spot in the lineup ahead of the pitcher, Dana Evelyn. And they'll face a very familiar face in Edwin Jackson, who starts game 2 of this series.
Jackson making his 12th start against the Blue Jays. Very hard thrower. Coming off a fine outing in his last start. 8 shutout innings and had a career best 12 strikeouts. There you see the numbers. 54 innings, 64 hits, 44 strikeouts.
Jose Bautista, 13 homers, 34 RBI.
swing and a miss. Bautista back in the leadoff spot with Fred Lewis out of the lineup, and it was a real difficult situation for Cito Gaston trying to figure out who to sit down after everybody had a good night at the plate last night, including Adam Lind, who came off the bench and hit a pinch hit home run in the ninth.
It's just one of those situations where a manager really doesn't have much choice. Adam Lind, of course, coming off a great year last season.
There's Fred Lewis. He hit a home run in his first at bat here last night, and then hit a rocket in the ninth inning off the wall in center field for a double. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Popped up into right field. Justin Upton with the long run over near the foul line, and he makes the catch.
The scouting report on Edwin Jackson. He is basically a 4-pitch pitcher. He's an outstanding arm, live fastball. He'll pitch at about 94, 95 all evening. Very hard slider, pretty good changeup. And that slider has a lot of good hard bite.
Aaron Hill takes the first pitch down for a ball. Hill got to the plate last night representing the tying run in the top of the ninth. Popped up to the center fielder to end the game.
Well, if you're Fred Lewis, it's not often you hit a home run and double off the center field wall, and the next day you're not even in the starting lineup.
Tough lineup. Tough team. But he was good with it. He knows somebody's got to sit out. 2 balls, no strikes. Hill out in front of it and hooks it into the seats down the left field line. Umpire Brian Renora got a new supply of baseballs. Kind of early to run out of baseballs. A couple foul balls and you got a.
It's poor planning.
Bad planning. 2 balls and a strike. 1 out here, top of the first inning. Breaking ball popped up into left field. Connor Jackson runs in and makes the catch. 2 up, 2 down.
Well, defensively for the Diamondbacks this evening, it will be Jackson, Young, and Upton in the outfield. Reynolds at third, Abreu at short, Johnson at second, LaRoche at first. Hester will do the catching, Edwin Jackson the pitching. Adam LaRoche, one of the best defensive first basemen in baseball, has tremendous range, soft hands.
Adam Lind hits the first pitch to the second baseman, Kelly Johnson. A very easy first inning for Edwin Jackson. Blue Jays go quietly. Top half of the first. The Arizona Diamondbacks lineup tonight is Johnson, Abreu, and Connor Jackson. Jackson in the third spot tonight beat Justin Upton, the right fielder, over his last 13 games, he's been swinging a red-hot bat, hitting .358. He had 3 hits last night. That ties his season high in the hit department. Adam LaRoche, Mark Reynolds, and Chris Young, the center fielder. John Hester, young catcher, gets to start tonight, and he'll be handling Edwin Jackson, and that lineup will be facing Dana Evelyn for the Blue Jays.
Dana Evelyn coming off a tough start in his last outing, and second start in a row where he pitched only 4 innings in the ball game, but against the Arizona Diamondbacks in 5 1/3 innings of work, all in relief. He has a fine ERA of 0.00. So no ERA, guys.
Kelly Johnson, the second baseman, will lead things off. Johnson was hitless in 3 official at-bats. He also had a couple of walks. One of the few Diamondbacks that didn't get a hit last night. Three balls, no strikes to start the game, and this is one thing Dana Evelyn was very conscious of trying to avoid, was being too fine, falling behind these Diamondback hitters. There's a strike.
Well, sometimes when you're not a hard thrower, you fall into that habit of trying to be a little too fine, make every pitch perfect.
Leadoff walk issued to Kelly Johnson.
And you have to remind yourself once in a while that they're not going to hit every pitch you make the mistake with hard. Scouting report. He'll pitch at 88 with his fastball. Slider, curveball, and change. And if you have to put emphasis on anything for Dana Evelyn this evening, he's got to keep the ball down, he has to sink it, and he has to change speeds.
Kelly Johnson at first base for Tony Abreu, the shortstop, starting here tonight. Switch hitting Abreu, batting right-handed against the left-hander Evelyn. Popped up right field. Bautista in shallow right makes the catch.
Defensively, the Jays, it will be Lind, Wells, and Bautista in the outfield. Encarnacion and Gonzalez on the left side of the infield. Hill and Overbay on the right side of the infield. Buck does the catching. Dana Evelyn the pitching here this evening. And of course the Jays very good defensively. And John Buck, that's where it all starts, is right there behind the plate. And John Buck has done a solid job as a catcher this year for the Jays. He threw out Mark Reynolds attempting to steal last night, and he's done a very fine job of working with this young starting staff.
Connor Jackson into the third spot in the lineup tonight. This is the first time that Jackson has hit third this year. H.J. Hinch, the manager, doing some juggling, giving Stephen Drew, the regular shortstop, the night off, starting Abreu. And now he drops Connor Jackson into the third spot in the lineup. Evens the count at 1-1. One out here in the first. Blue Jays went 1-2-3 top half of the first. Pop that ball straight back over the screen. Connor Jackson starting to swing the bat a little more effectively. Last night he had a ringing double to the gap in left center. His average is to 250. A ball and 2 strikes on the Diamondbacks left fielder.
That last pitch is a very good one from Dana Evelyn. Ran the ball in on the hands of Connor Jackson, and That's an important pitch for him also this evening, is to not forget, especially with the right-handed hitters, run the ball in on their hands once in a while. You don't have to be overpowering the pitch inside, and then that makes the off-speed pitch, the sinker, more effective to the outer third. Otherwise, these Diamondback hitters will start to lay out over the plate.
Ball missed down. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 1 out. Kelly Johnson walked to start the inning. He's at first.
Kelly Johnson with 3 stolen bases on the season. He's been caught once.
Changeup cued off the end of the bat. Aaron Hill has the only play to first and retires Jackson. Good changeup there, had Jackson fooled.
Well, a changeup thrown correctly always disguises itself very well. And that last one hit Jackson right off the end of the bat.
Right fielder Justin Upton, 3 for 5 in last night's game. He's hit 7 home runs already this year. Fastball top of the strike zone. Evelyn gets ahead.
Even though here in just the first inning of the ball game, again with first base open, Dana Evelyn, if he chooses to do so, doesn't necessarily have to give in to Upton. If he happens to get behind, and the county does have left-handing Adam LaRoche on deck.
Missed with that fastball upstairs. LaRoche hit the 2-run home run that started the scoring for the Diamondbacks. That erased an early Blue Jays lead. Blue Jays led it 1-0, and in the second inning, LaRoche hit a 2-run home run. Diamondbacks never trailed after his homer. 2 balls and a strike. Always difficult for a starting pitcher in the first inning, trying to gain command of the strike zone, get a hold of his emotions, and tone down the adrenaline. And then you're working to the most potent part of the opponent's lineup. Really a challenging inning. Changeup, foul back. As Rance mentioned, when Evelyn's at his best, it's when he throws that sinking fastball and changeup. And the changeup is such a field pitch. You try to come out in the first inning and establish it. And sometimes if you leave one out over the plate, you can get hurt.
And the last one was up, and it flattened out a little bit. Upton saw it well, had a good cut at it, but missed it, fouling it back.
Base hit left field. Getting the stop sign at third is Kelly Johnson as Adam Lynn gets that ball back in quickly. Justin Upton with a ringing single to left.
Ringing single is right. The ball was hit so hard that Johnson could not score. There's Adam LaRoche in the first inning. He would homer last night. And he's been swinging the bat well.
LaRoche also had a double. Drove in 2, scored 2. His home run number 7 on the season. Diamondbacks are threatening here with 2 outs in the first. Evelyn jumps ahead. Adam LaRoche has only had 1 at bat against Dana Evelyn. He was 1 for 1 before tonight, but he's been on fire lately. Over the last 7 games, .458. Jammed him, little flare into right field, and that's going to get down. Kelly Johnson comes in to score. Upton goes to third, and the Diamondbacks have jumped out on top. Just a little jam shot into right field. Evelyn made a pretty good pitch. LaRoche spoiled it.
Well, this is just bad luck for Dana Evelyn. Ball ran in on his hands, broke his bat. And he dumps it right in front of Bautista. And those are the types of hits, when you're hot and swinging the bat well, you'll get.
Good job of base running by Justin Upton. He saw that Bautista wasn't going to make a play on it. Of course, with 2 outs, he had freedom to run. Dangerous hitter here at the plate in Mark Reynolds. Reynolds has 11 home runs and 35 runs driven in. Changeup up and away, and so far Evelyn's missing in a very dangerous zone to these powerful hitters in the Diamondbacks lineup. First and third, 2 outs. Drive to left field. That ball's got a chance to get out of here. It's off the wall. Upton comes in to score. LaRoche is coming around third. He's getting the stop sign. Blue Jays missed the cutoff man. Mark Reynolds got the count in his favor and hammered it off the wall in left center. 2-0 Diamondbacks.
Fortunate that the ball was not hit out of the ballpark. A fastball right down Broadway, and Reynolds, with his power, it hits it so hard. Wells plays it well off the wall, and then a little mix-up on the cutoff. About the time Wells turned the ball loose, Gonzalez was looking back to check the runner, LaRoche, to see where he was at, and was unable to react. But fortunately for the Jays, third base coach Bo Porter stopped LaRoche at third base.
Chris Young, the center fielder, will bat for the first time tonight. He's got runners at second and third and 2 outs. 2 runs in here in the first for Arizona. We talked about how similar this Diamondbacks lineup was to the Blue Jays lineup. They're patient, they take pitches, but boy, when they get the count in their favor, they'll wear you out. There's a changeup for a strike. 2 balls and a strike for Dana Evelyn. Chris Young hit one of the home runs for the Diamondbacks in last night's game. His home run was a little insurance and proved to be a big home run in the 7th inning. On the ground, fair ball past Encarnacion. 2 more runs come in to score. LaRoche, and right behind him, Reynolds. Chris Young drives in 2. Diamondbacks with a 4-run first. Arizona had a 4-run 4th inning last night.
Well, if you're Dana Evelyn, you cannot pitch behind in the count. The ball hit very sharp. Great effort by Encarnacion to try to knock it down and save a run. Looked like he might have rolled his left wrist just a little bit.
Catcher John Hester swings at the first pitch and pulls it on the ground to the shortstop. Hester's retired, but the Diamondbacks score 4 runs on 4 hits in the first. Out on top 4-0. Catch up again tonight as they fall behind early in this ball game. A 4-run first inning by the Diamondbacks, and again the leadoff walk comes in to score, but all the damage happened with 2 outs after Connor Jackson grounded out to second. Then 4 straight hits, including the last 2 being doubles.
There's no doubt that this is a Jays lineup that can play catch up. 4 runs here in the top of the second. They can definitely overcome. The key tonight at this point forward is going to be the pitching of Dana Evelyn, and probably down the road the bullpen. They're going to have to shut the Diamondbacks offense down and give the Jays a chance to catch up in this ball game.
Vernon Wells leads off the second.
You just can't allow them from this point on to add a run here, add a run there. You've got to shut them down, and very quickly.
Wells just hitting .238 on the road compared to .360 at home. One of the reasons in my mind that has been so low is some of the weather they played on early on wasn't conducive to swinging the bats. Of course, at the Rogers Center, you can control that. Cleveland, Chicago, even Seattle, pretty cold, and on some nights it's difficult to swing the bat. Bouncing ball fair down the left field line. That'll go all the way down into the corner. Wells rounds first, and he'll coast into second. A leadoff double. For 15th double for Vernon Wells.
Now this is a pitch last year that he had a lot of trouble getting to because he wasn't healthy, but this year that fastball in, no problem at all, and pulls it hard just inside the bag at third base.
Nobody out for Lyle Overbay. Fastball misses downstairs. Overbay had 2 more hits in last night's game. Average up to 208. Very slow, steady climb. Breaking ball gets away from Hester. Still doesn't know where it is. Wells moves to third. A breaking ball in the dirt. Hester just kind of tried to glove with the backhand side and went off his glove. Extra 90 feet for the Jays.
And when you call that breaking ball as a catcher, you know, the first thing you do is anticipate the ball in the dirt. Here you see what Overbay has done as of late. And Hester really with poor technique. As you mentioned, just tried to backhand it instead of get to the knees and get that body in front of that last pitch.
3 balls and no strikes. So Wells leads it off with a double, moves to third on the wild pitch, and Overbay has the count in his favor, 3-0. Green light. That'll score a run. Swinging on a 3-0 pitch. Overbay picks up the RBI. Vernon Wells scores.
Somewhat surprising. Overbay swinging 3-0. Thought he might be taking. You know, you could use another base runner in that situation. And Jackson historically can get wild at times, so I kind of thought maybe he might take there and give him a chance to get wild in this inning.
Well, you could see Cito Gaston acknowledge the RBI. So he obviously gave Overbay the green light. And I've just got to be thinking that Cito says, you know what, this guy's starting to swing a little bit. Let's see if we can't get him going with the 3-0 pitch. Give him a chance to do some damage. Overbay picks up the RBI. He now has 18 for the season, but starting to swing the bat with much more confidence. And of course, that's where you want to be with Dwayne Murphy, the hitting coach.
But there are times as a hitter, even when you have the green light, you might say to yourself, you know, I know this guy historically, he can get wild. He's 3-0 right here. You know, let me take one and just see if he can throw a strike.
A ball and 2 strikes to Gonzalez. Inside. As Edwin Jackson pitched a lot against the Blue Jays. Spent a lot of time with Tampa Bay Rays. National League career against the Blue Jays in 12 games. Fly ball center field. Chris Young makes the catch. 2 outs. A lot of familiarity by the Blue Jays hitters against Jackson. Spent 3 seasons in Tampa Bay. Last year he was with the Tigers, so they know him well. 13-9 a year ago in 33 starts for Detroit. 2 outs for John Buck, the catcher. It's interesting watching John Buck hit and talking to Dwayne Murphy today about his approach and how much upside Murphy thinks that there is with Buck.
Well, the interesting comment was when he was in Kansas City, they wanted him to hit everything, up the middle into his opposite field. And the reason, in Dwayne Murphy's opinion, that Buck got off to such a tough start was he was still conditioned to do that. Didn't get his bat started in time, couldn't catch up with the fastball, and now finally has made the transition over to being aggressive, thinking in terms of catching the ball out front and driving it and pulling the baseball a little more.
Bury that ball in the dirt. Hester was able to block that one. A ball and 2 strikes on the catcher. Take a look at the hits by direction. He's now swinging the bat with so much more confidence. The power numbers are really up, and that's, of course, to the power side, the left field side.
To his pull field, although he can hit the ball out of the ballpark in any direction. He has that type of strength.
2 balls, 2 strikes.
But Dwayne Murphy feels that if not in the very near future, most certainly at some point in his career, got a chance to consistently hit 25 to 30 and
off-speed pitch gets John Buck to end the second. Blue Jays are on the board. Arizona leads it 4-1. Are 5.5 games out in the National League West. They're just 19-24, but they certainly have the offense to improve from that number.
No, there's no question that they can score and put runs on the board, but that ERA of 5.67, and it has to improve. So if this Diamondbacks ball club is going to go anywhere in terms of postseason, the pitching has to get better.
That's the last in the major leagues. 5.67, highest ERA among all teams in the big leagues.
And speaking of pitching, Dana Evelyn here at this point has to feel like, okay, the next 4 innings, I've got to shut the Diamondbacks down not let them add on, because if you can do that, and if he can do that, chances are these Jays can come back and win this ball game.
Edwin Jackson, the pitcher, takes a first pitch strike.
We just showed that Arizona Diamondback team ERA. You match that up against the offense of the Jays. All you got to shut them down, and you can win this game.
Jackson just 3 hits this year, but he has a home run. Very pitch strikeout for Dana Evelyn. That's a good start to the second inning. Diamondbacks jumped on Evelyn in the first after 2 were out. Gave up base hits to Upton and LaRoche, and then Mark Reynolds hit a double. Chris Young followed it with a 2-run double.
But it all started with a walk to this man right here. That just really set the entire inning up.
Well, you put yourself in a tough spot right out of the chute. First batter is on base, then you got to go to the stretch, and he was able to get Abreu, the shortstop, and Connor Jackson, left fielder, but then with 2 outs he just couldn't shut down the Diamondbacks.
And you know, you might say, well, really, what's the difference if he throws a strike 3-2 and he gets a base hit and he's aboard? The difference is psychological, because when a hitter gets a base hit, in the pitcher's mind, it's okay, he earned it, I made him put the ball in play, he got himself a base hit, fine, we move forward. But when you walk him, it becomes a negative in your mind. It's like, I walked the leadoff hitter, I should have made him put the ball in play, and everything becomes a negative as opposed to a positive thought.
Breaking ball taken down, the appeal to third denied. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 1 out to Kelly Johnson, the second baseman. But you make a great point, because then the first thing that pops into your mind is, oh, here we go again. Walks are going to kill us. Right field line, fair ball. That's going to go all the way into the corner. Johnson around first. Bautista bobbled it momentarily, but that's not going to make any difference. Kelly Johnson delivers the 1-out double.
Well, a young man that not real big in stature, but a lot of pop in his bat. He has 12 home runs. This ball hit hard down into the right field corner, and there's some quirky angles down there in that corner. And Bautista plays this ball pretty well in terms of that angle. Had a little trouble finding the handle, but he was in the correct position.
Tony Abreu flied out to right in his first at bat.
And if you go back to that walk, too, also a pitcher like Dana Evelyn, the first thing he would tell you is he can't afford the base on balls, and unless he's just pitching around someone. Just can't allow those extra base runners with the walk.
A ball and a strike. Abreu lines it into right field. That's going to be in front of Bautista. Kelly Johnson's going to be stopped at third. Overbay cuts the ball off. Abreu has a hit, just waited on the breaking ball and slapped it into right.
If you go back to last night's game, and so far here in the early going, what I see with these Diamondback hitters is they are very well prepared, and they know the tendencies based upon the way the swings they're taking and the way they're reacting to pitches their opponent on any given night. Because it seems like oftentimes they're on the same page with what the pitcher's going to throw.
Connor Jackson grounded out his first time up. First and third, 1 out. Right field, that's got a chance to get down. It does. Fair ball. Here comes Johnson. Tony Abreu stops at third base. Johnson scores. It's 5-1 Arizona. Well, you're right. It looks like they're right on every pattern. They don't overswing. They just take what you give them.
Well, it's another mistake. But Jackson not trying to do too much with it. And give Bautista a lot of credit. He really did a great job to hustle over, play that angle correctly, and get the ball back into the infield, and for the time being save a run. And might be a pretty good idea right now. They're going to put Upton on.
And they're going to issue the intentional walk and load the bases to set up the double play. Tito Gaston hopeful that the lefty-lefty matchup will get him the ground ball. Diamondbacks already with 3 doubles tonight. They hit 4 doubles in the 4th inning in last night's game. This is a powerful team. We talked about the similarities of these two teams offensively, and you can close your eyes and watch and hear the sound of the bats, and you could think that this was an American League club. They can really swing it. So the bases are loaded with 1 out. A run in.
Well, the one thing that the Diamondback hitters are doing is they're laying out over the plate. And you're not going to get them out right now, pitching them away and soft. And maybe you need to change your pattern if you're Dana Evelyn. Most certainly come in off the plate hard a time or two and see if you get these Diamondbacks a little more conscious of the hard stuff in.
It looked like a pretty stern message from his catcher about getting out of this situation. Bruce Walton, the pitching coach, has made the call down to the bullpen. They're starting to loosen up down the right field line, but Buck went out there as if to say, let's get it going now. Now Cito Gaston's coming out here. And again, this is not the time Cito's going to make a pitching change. I don't think the pitcher in the pen has been ready. This is a little bit more about delivering the message. Just put up some zeros here. Rami Lewis just started to throw. Very stern message from the manager. Let's go. He said, come on, these guys want to help you out now. Give them a chance to help you. And Cito knows that his club's going to score more than 1 run tonight, and he's just looking for somebody to shut down the Diamondbacks. But Arizona has been great in running runners in scoring position through the first 2 games of this series. So far, they are 9 for 20. Adam LaRoche takes the first pitch, strike.
Well, overall this season, they have been outstanding with runners in scoring position. Have the Diamondbacks hitting over 300 coming into this ball game this evening. If you bear down and make a pitch here, get a double play ball.
Base hit right field. Abreu comes in to score. Jackson stops at third. Another base hit with runners in scoring position.
Now just everything's up. Everything is up in the strike zone, and a ball club that can swing it like these Diamondbacks, you're not going to get away with it. See, trying to get a double play ball, and this is a fastball belt high middle in. And that's not where you go most certainly to try to get that double play.
And here comes the manager.
Take the baseball from Dana Evelyn. That'll be it for him this evening. He will go to the bullpen. Just looking for anybody to hold this offense down and play some catch up.
nothing more. So he is on early in this ball game here this evening.
And he inherits a very difficult situation. You got one out, bases loaded, and we'll get to face Mark Reynolds.
Reynolds has a double and an RBI. He's also scored a run. Bases loaded. One out. Swings at the first pitch and hits it a mile high, but it's drifting toward the seats and out of play. Now there's a guy that knows how to drive in runs. He tomahawked that ball. He wasn't waiting for anything on a tee.
First pitch fastball, he jumped it.
Inside corner. Rami Lewis makes a good pitch to tie up Mark Reynolds.
But it goes back to what we were talking about earlier about these hitters laying out over the plate. You could tell by his approach, Reynolds' approach, he was starting to run out over that plate after for something out away from him or soft. That fastball in had him backing off, tied up, and is still on the plate. Double up in there again.
0-2. In the dirt. Laid off.
Well, if you look at what Mark Reynolds has done since 2007, leads all third basemen with 100 home runs. The next closest to him, 19 back, David Wright. He can hit the ball out of the ballpark.
And he's got better and better each year in the home run department. 17 to 28, up to 44 last year. A ball and 2 strikes. Struck him out. Rami Lewis with a big strikeout of Mark Reynolds.
Now this looks like a pitch that, because it starts out of the zone and then ends up actually a good pitch to hit, but initially it looked like Reynolds gave up on it just a little bit the last moment, tried the emergency swing, trying to fight it off and maybe see another pitch. Big strikeout for Rami Lewis.
Chris Young drove in 2 with his double down the left field line in the first. Bases are loaded now, 2 outs. Good pitch inside. Rami Lewis obviously inherited a very difficult situation here, but boy, if he could get out of this inning with just the 1 run. 2 runs they've scored here in the 6th to make it a 6-1 game. A ball and a strike to Chris Young.
But the effect of the fastball inside, you start to see some swings where the hitters are fooled. They're out fronting the off-speed pitch. But if you're Rami Lewis and this Jays staff, don't be consistent with that pitch, that good fastball inside. Keep these hitters honest, because the last 2 nights we have seen, they're just all over anything that's out over the plate.
A ball and 2 strikes. 2 outs here, bottom of the 2nd. Chris Young is off to the best start of his career. Came into this game batting .288 with 30 RBI. He's already driven in 2 more tonight. And he's really been kind of a hot and cold guy early in his career, but boy, the upside for him is very bright, positive, high ceiling for Chris Young. Just inside, 2-2. Chris Young did not face Rami Lewis last night. Lewis faced just 4 hitters. There's the difference in the year. 167 a year ago, currently 292.
With 11 doubles, 6 home runs, and oftentimes the last thing that comes around for a young hitter, you know, the average starts to climb, and then you start to see the power start to improve as he matures.
Full count. Connor Jackson at third, Upton at second, Adam LaRoche at first. They'll all be off on the pitch. Jackson had an RBI double. He stands at third. 2 runs in here in the second. Arizona scored 8 runs on 15 hits last night. They've scored 6 runs on 8 hits already here tonight. Runners are going. Ground to left side through them. Jackson comes in to score. Right behind him is Upton. It's 8-1 Arizona. Chris Young has driven in 4.
Well, with 2 strikes, base 2 outs, the moment the ball's put in play, and of course the hitters are running on the 3-2 count, so the runner off of second base is going to score with no problem.
Catcher John Hester takes a strike. A ball and a strike. 2 outs here in the second. Hester was called up from AAA Reno on the 11th of April when Miguel Montero injured his right knee. Pulled foul outside of third. Back-to-back 4-run innings for Arizona to start the ball game. John Hester is the 9th Diamondback batter to bat this inning. And it started with a strikeout of the pitcher. Two balls and 2 strikes. Not a very good feeling. Sit helplessly in the dugout. Struck him out. Hester is caught looking to end the second. But the Diamondbacks score 4 more runs. They lead it 8-1 after 2. third baseman last night, Edwin Encarnacion.
The first of 3 home runs in last night's ball game, and if the Jays intend to get back into this one, they're going to need a lot of this. A home run.
Third one came off Juan Gutierrez. He hit a pretty good pitch, but all of them were long drives to left and left center. He has 5 home runs now on the season, but Blue Jays had a lot of work to do. 14th player in interleague history to hit 3 home runs in a game.
But it's interesting, he did it hitting in that 8th spot. First of all, you don't see guys in the 8th spot with this type of power. Plus, he's hitting in front of the pitcher last night. And typically, when you're in that 8th spot in front of the pitcher, you don't see much to hit.
Well, you normally don't, but his first 2 home runs, both of them he had an 0-1 count. So the pitcher kind of felt, okay, I'm ahead now. I'm just going to make another good pitch. But Dan Aaron gave up 2 home runs in those 2 at-bats, 5th and 6th inning. Edwin Encarnacion leads off the 3rd inning here. Takes a strike. Rami Lewis has got a bat on deck, and he just came into the ball game with 1 out in the 2nd, so he's going to hit. It'll be his first major league at bat.
Cito Gaston had to use his bullpen last night and had to go to the bullpen here in the 2nd inning this evening, so hoping to get probably a few more innings out of Rami Lewis if he can this evening.
3 balls, 2 strikes to Encarnacion.
If you can let him hit here in the top of the 3rd, and he can pitch a couple of shutout innings for you, maybe get you to the 5th inning of this game. Next time around, you pinch hit for him.
Popped up a mile high on the infield. Shortstop Tony Abreu calls for it and makes the catch. Danny Evelyn, just an inning and a 3rd tonight. Take a look at his pitching line, brought to you by MLB 10, the show, only on PlayStation.
Well, it was a rough outing. 1 1/3, 8 hits, 8 runs, total of 46 pitches. Just couldn't get the ball down.
Rami Lewis, first big league at bat.
That's where you stand up there and go, you know, I didn't realize they were throwing this hard. Especially facing Jackson, who has an outstanding arm.
Oftentimes you'll get pitchers coming back after first opportunity to face major league pitching and say, do I throw like that? And most of the times the answer is yes. Lewis strikes out. Goes after a fastball.
You know, sometimes it may be a good thing for a pitcher to have to hit, because then he gets a real picture of how difficult hitting can be and what stuff looks like to a hitter, what the fastball looks like, the movement of the breaking pitch, and maybe sometimes that can help you a little bit mentally when you're out there on the mound.
I agree with that 100%. I think it can do nothing but help them. Jose Bautista takes a strike from Edwin Jackson. Bautista back in the leadoff spot, 10th time he's hit first in the lineup.
Well, it has to help you when you go back to the dugout and you say, you know, I throw just as hard as that guy does, and I got a nasty slider, so maybe I better give myself a little bit more credit than I do sometimes when I'm out there on the mound.
Yeah, and you can see Brandon Morrow and Robbie Lewis talking about his first at bat. What was it like? Well, it's not a whole lot of fun, I can tell you that. But you're right, and I've said this all along. I think pitchers that have been position players in the past understand how difficult it is to hit, and that really helps them pitch. I think Sean Markham's a perfect example of that. He played shortstop. So he knows as a hitter, you know, you don't hit everything. You don't hit every strike. So changing speeds and locating your pitches is a pretty good way to pitch. Bautista fights one off down and in. This a flare down the right field line, and it's into foul ground.
Well, you know, Bautista knew it was going to be foul when you just look at the fact that he carried his bat with him all the way down around first base. You know, Bautista being a Rule 5 draft pick 3 different times. You know, I read where he said, you know, a lot of people see that as a negative because sometimes you don't get the playing time that you need to develop. But he said, I used it as a positive because it gave me a chance to sit and observe the pitchers, other hitters. And he said it really helped me develop my mental game.
Went after a breaking ball. Jackson has 3 strikeouts, a 1-2-3 third inning. This ball game, the club is down by 7 runs at 8-1 as the Diamondbacks are set to hit here in the third. Edwin Jackson led off the second. He struck out, but then the hitters took care of everything. He pops this ball up on the right side. Overbay got a beat on it. Rami Lewis is given the challenge of just trying to put up some zeros and slow this juggernaut Diamondback offense down a bit. 8 runs on 9 hits, and there's just 1 out here in the third. Cito Gaston was asked before the game about some of his pitchers being aware of some pitchers in the minors getting healthy, namely Jesse Litch and Mark Zepchinski. And he said, yeah, I'm sure they're aware. They know they're good pitchers and they know they're getting healthy, and Jesse Litch is eligible to be activated on the 3rd of June. Kelly Johnson hits the grounder. Aaron Hill has it, and Rami Lewis has retired 2 here in the third. So you've got to wonder just how things are going to shake out. Some of these pitchers, Zepchinski looked like he was going to make the team out of spring trainings. Cito Gaston said, you know what, we had several guys, including Brett Cisa, who's now with the club, that could have made the team out of spring training. So starting depth in the organization is not a real concern.
No, and that's a nice position to be in, is to have that depth, even if it's right. Some of that depth's in AAA right now, and it's a nice option, and there's no question this organization, they're going to find out just exactly what they have with some of these young arms. So people are going to be given an opportunity to pitch. Of course, Jesse Litch won 13 in 08.
Tony Abreu hits one to the shortstop. Gonzalez fires across the diamond. Rami Lewis with a 1-2-3 third inning. Manitoba takes on the Windsor Spitfires for Canadian junior hockey supremacy. 7 p.m. Eastern Time, 4 p.m. Pacific Time on all Sportsnet channels. Great way to finish a wonderful run at the Memorial Cup. The hometown Brandon Wheat Kings taking on the reigning champs, the Windsor Spitfires. Should be a great game all tomorrow night. Aaron Hill will start the fourth inning. Edwin Jackson has held the Blue Jays to just one hit so far. That was a Vernon Wells double that started the second.
You know, we've talked about the struggles of Aaron Hill, and last night it looked like he was pressing a little bit, especially in his last at bat. And you know, sometimes when you're a player like Aaron Hill who wants to contribute, is a team player in every aspect, when you struggle, you feel like you start to feel like, you know, I'm letting my teammates down because I'm not contributing. And then that just compounds the struggles, because you know, it starts to wear on you mentally.
It's so easy to forget how difficult it is to be consistent and be a 300 hitter and a 30 home run power guy and drive in 100 runs. It's a piece of a wicked breaking ball. But the struggles are, you know, predominantly in your head because of what you just said. You know, you put too much burden on your shoulders. Well, I got to do this. I got to live up to what I did last year. I got to carry my team. I'm the only guy that's not hitting. All those things get into your head. A ball and 2 strikes to Aaron Hill. Chases a breaking ball. He strikes out. 4th strikeout for Edwin Jackson.
See the movement. A hard breaking ball. That slider. He has a slider with very good depth, does Edwin Jackson. You can see the frustration. Aaron Hill.
Well, then too, just think about Dwayne Murphy trying to figure out how to help his hitters out. I mean, you've got 12 hitters you worry about every single day. He and Cito Gaston are constantly having conversations about various hitters in their lineup on their roster. How are you going to tinker with this guy? What do you think we can do with that guy? How can we get this guy going? Popped up down the left field line. Connor Jackson, a long run, takes it in foul ground. John Buck is a guy that was really helped by Gaston and Murphy. As Wayne Murphy and Cito Gaston worked with him, talked to him about being ready, getting aggressive, looking for more fastballs, and it turned his season around. But Cito Gaston is one of the best I've ever seen at breaking down a hitter, trying to get him right, get him on the right path.
If there's anything that we see with Aaron Hill, and we've seen it at times with Adam Lind also, they start to struggle, and you start to try to hit everything that they throw up to the plate.
Vernon Wells fouls it into the seat. No balls and 2 strikes.
And that starts to lead to a lot of at bats, because you can't walk up there and cover it all. Sometimes the best thing you can do when you're struggling is simplify it and just go back and say, I'm looking for one fastball every at bat for a while to hit. When I get it, I'm going to try to be aggressive and put a good swing on it. And you can do the same thing with something other than the fastball if you like, but just really break it down to its simplest form. Kind of like you did maybe when you were in Little League. Look for the old fastball and let it go.
Boy, it was very simple then, wasn't it?
Well, it sure was.
A ball and 2 strikes to Vernon Wells. He chased a bad one off the plate. Jackson, 5 strikeouts on the night. Back here in Arizona, we're at Chase Field tonight. Diamondbacks have jumped on the Blue Jays early here tonight. 4 runs in the first, 4 runs in the second. Indoor pool, always an attraction here at Chase Field. A lot of fans will come in and enjoy the atmosphere, and they've always got their lifeguard on duty. Rami Lewis came on in relief in the second inning with 1 out. Connor Jackson hitting in the 3rd spot for the first time this season as an RBI double. Popped up into center field. Long run for Vernon Wells, but he'll get there.
You'd have to say Rodney Lewis, since he entered the ball game, has pitched effectively. The first hitter he had to face was Reynolds with the bases loaded. He struck him out, and then 3-2 pitch, Chris Young bounced the ball through the left side, but then he struck out Hester. He struck out Jackson. At a 1-2-3 third, and here off to a good start in the fourth.
Rami Lewis had a very good outing in Boston back on May 10th. He worked 3 innings and allowed just 1 hit, and allowed the Blue Jays to make that game interesting. They got back to within 7-6, but eventually lost. But Rami Lewis did a heck of a job. His longest outing of his career.
And he's an interesting young pitcher. He's a pretty good fastball. He's not overpowering, but good enough. Good curveball. He'll two-seam it, sink it away from you once in a while. But more than anything, he seems to have very good presence and demeanor on the mound. I mean, that's just the way he looked right there when he entered the ball game with 1 out and the bases loaded.
Off the end of the bat, little looping liner to the shortstop. Upton is retired.
But a good pitch in a good spot.
Well, you mentioned two-seam fastball. Obviously, down in his zone with movement's always going to be a very good pitch, and we've seen Rami Lewis show the ability to do that. He's got a couple of different breaking balls, and it's all about location and movement.
And the only base hit that he's given up since he entered the ball game was that 3-2 pitch, but Chris Young hit the top of it, and he got a ground ball. He just happened to hit it, just kind of split the third baseman and the shortstop. It could have been easily a ground ball out to get out of the inning. The ball was not hit real hard.
He's ahead of Adam LaRoche. LaRoche is perfect tonight. 2 singles, an RBI, and he scored a run. Takes a big curveball for a strike. But you're right, Cito Gaston, Bruce Walton, Rick Langford, coaches all looking at the pitching staff, trying to see what they have and what they can develop. Fly ball into center. Vernon Wells calling for it and has plenty of room, and Rami Lewis has a good inning. Exclusively at jshop.ca. Roberto will be in Toronto on Friday, May 28th to launch his new clothing line. 12 p.m. to 1 p.m. at Jay's Shop at Sears, Yonge and Dundas. 5:30 p.m. to 6:15 at the Jay's Shop at the Rogers Center. You must purchase a Roberto Alomar item or make a $10 donation to Jay's Care Foundation for a Roberto Alomar autograph. Second to none by Roberto Alomar. Overbay swings at the first pitch and hits it at the shortstop. 1 pitch, 1 out here in the 5th. Edwin Jackson has just slammed the door shut on the Blue Jays offense. Just 1 hit so far.
Well, not to take anything away from Jackson, but when he got staked to that big lead early, now it's just pound that strike zone, change speeds once in a while, and go right after the hitters. No concern of, you don't have that pressure where 1 pitch could cost you the ball game.
Alex Gonzalez takes a first pitch fastball.
At this point, just don't walk anybody.
Yeah.
Pound the zone.
Well, Jackson saw firsthand that 6 home runs last night, all solo shots, didn't have enough impact. His team won 8-6. What you don't want to do is encourage the offense of the Blue Jays by walking anybody. Base hit to left field. Gonzalez stayed down and got a pretty good breaking ball.
He really did. He went down and got that nasty hard slider, but he kept his hands back, just threw the barrel at it. Pays off for him with a base hit. This is a nasty pitch. Look at the movement and location. But he stays with it.
Only the 2nd hit allowed by Jackson. Now John Buck. John Buck surprised by Brian Honora and says, hey, that was low. Of course, the catchers work very close together. They generally have a pretty good rapport, and he can say, hey, John, I thought it was a strike. 2 balls and a strike, 1 out to John Buck. Takes the ball down and away. Cut on and missed. A ball and 2 strikes. John Buck had his 10-game hit streak snapped last night. He went 0 for 4 in that ball game. Blue Jays are down by 7 as they bat here in the 5th inning. Sharply on the ground, diving stop by Abreu to second for 1, back to first, not in time. What a stop by Abreu. Looked like he didn't pick up that ball quickly off the bat, but boy, did he recover.
Now, sometimes when you play in the middle of the field, you see the ball go through the hitting zone. You see the pitch kind of away from the hitter, and you start to lean to your left. But able to recover and get the force out, almost able to complete the double play. And there you see the reaction from Jackson. He appreciates that effort.
2 outs now for Encarnacion.
You know, sometimes when you're in the middle, you see that ball away from that hitter, and you start to anticipate that he's going to hit that ball more straight away, and you get a little more weight on your left foot as opposed to your right, but able to recover and make an outstanding play.
Inside, obviously, when you see the pitch location from the catcher, you kind of set up cheating maybe a little bit toward the middle, and then the batter pulls it back to your right side. You got to make an adjustment. Easy play for Abreu as he gets the force out at second. Gonzalez gets a single, but nothing more off Edwin Jackson. Nationals a slight edge in the wind department. They've pitched much better. Home runs, still a little bit of an edge to the American League.
Yeah, the American League is, no other way to say it, but they're tough. A lot of good pitching. Some very good hitters in the American League. And you can see the reason they have a better one-loss record the first go-round in interleague plays. They pitched better and they hit with more power.
Well, and I think the American League teams obviously are hardened to the fact that you have to work against the DH every night. And it's not like it's just an extra bat. It's an impact bat. And you look around the history of the DH, and some of the most prolific run producers were in that DH role. And that's what pitchers in the American League have to deal with on a nightly basis. Mark Reynolds takes the first pitch, breaking ball. Ronnie Lewis in his third inning of work came on with one out in the second inning. Had a good third, a good fourth, actually working on his fourth inning of work here. Just inside.
Now you look at there are a lot of National League teams where if you get to that number 7th spot in the batting order, lots of times it might be a guy that's a decent hitter but doesn't hit with power, and the 8th spot oftentimes is a rather weak hitter. And then you throw in the pitcher, and oftentimes you've got a situation where a pitcher goes through a couple innings, the first 6 in the lineup, and then he has an inning where he gets somewhat of a breather because you don't have that offense there. Yeah. That's not the case over here in the American League with a lot of ball clubs.
Just talking about a number 8 hitter like Edwin Encarnacion, and he's going to hit 8th whether there's a pitcher or not. But I mean, here's a guy that's got legitimate 25 home run power, and you just don't see that consistently in the National League. And it's like a rest stop, every 7-8 batters, and give a shortstop, a weak hitting catcher and pitcher. Fly ball to center field, but it shouldn't be a problem for Vernon Wells.
Yeah, it's like every third inning you get a breather.
Rami Lewis again doing just exactly what Cito Gaston hoped he would be able to do. He's allowed just the one hit. That came in his first inning with 2 outs and the bases loaded. A full count, runners were on the move, and Chris Young drove in 2, but boy, he has been great since then. Retired 8 in a row. It's tough to cool off a hot hitting club in the middle of the ball game. Tonight is 70s night here at Chase Field, and as the players are introduced, they are given the outfit of the period. They've been playing music all night long. All of the special event people around the ballpark are dressed in 70s attire, and it's been a pretty good theme here played out by the Diamondbacks. 2 balls and a strike. 1 out here, bottom of the 5th inning.
Rami Lewis, again, his 4-seam fastball, he gets it up 90, 91, occasionally 92. The 2-seamer, it's about 86, 87. Doesn't throw it as hard. Of course, relies more on movement with the 2-seamer. Pretty good breaking ball.
On the ground, off the end of the bat, Gonzalez has time and throws out Chris Young. 9 straight retired by Rami Lewis. Interesting story. Lewis played in the Orioles system and just kind of lost interest for a while and actually sat out a year, then missed the game, called the Orioles back, say, hey, you don't want to give this another go. So when he was called up earlier this season, he had spent 10 years in the minors and really kind of realized a dream, and one that he had given up on for a time. John Hester 0 for 2 tonight.
Sometimes if you have spent a number of years in the minor leagues and you've never really had any success or had the opportunity at the major league level, maybe you get discouraged and you decide it's time to move on. And then you leave and you're away from the game, and all of a sudden you realize, you know, I really loved pitching and I loved competing, and you miss that and want to get back to it. But very seldom do you get another opportunity. And Rami Lewis got that opportunity. He's taken advantage of it.
0-2 popped back over the Blue Jays dugout. You know, we were so fortunate to play, both you and I, for such a long time. And you're right, you do take it for granted. You just go, it's just such a big part of your life. I mean, the routine you start the moment you sign just carries you through life. That's Mel Stottlemyre Jr. along with Dan Herron. Stottlemyre Jr. is the pitching coach here. Hester pops it up right behind home plate. John Buck rips off the mask and makes the catch. Rami Lewis has retired 10 straight. Great job out of the bullpen. Games live or on demand at HD quality. Packages start at $99.99. Visit BlueJays.com for more details. Second game of interleague play for the Blue Jays. They are here in a 3-game series with the Arizona Diamondbacks. They lost a tough one last night, 8-6. Blue Jays hit 6 solo home runs in that game here on Friday night. They fell behind early, 6-1, and just clawed their way back into the game. 2 runs in the ninth, but they fell short. Mike McCoy will pinch hit for Rami Lewis, who did a terrific job out of the bullpen, pitching 3 2/3 of 1-hit relief. McCoy pinch hit in the game last night in the 5th inning and struck out against Dan Herron.
You like to see that in a pinch hitter. You come off the bench, be aggressive. You see a pitch you like, first pitch of the at bat, go ahead and let it go. You know, one of the best pieces of advice I ever got when it came to pinch hitting was from Hal McRae, and he told me, when you pinch hit, the manager didn't send you up there to survey. He said that first pitch fastball, if it's a strike, you need to be hacky, be aggressive. You know, he had a way of expressing things, but it was great advice because it is true. You find that even if you swing and foul it off or miss it, you feel better about it than you would have if you'd had taken it for a strike.
Hit hard on the ground, but right through the third baseman, Mark Reynolds. McCoy makes it close at first, but he is retired on the 5-3 putout. One out here in the 6th. Edwin Jackson has held the Blue Jays to just 2 hits and a single run.
The only downside to pinch hitting was the fact that you're only going to get that one chance to get a base hit.
But that was great advice, because the pitcher, he knows you're coming off the bench cold. He wants to get ahead of you, especially in a situation like this when McCoy's team is down by 7. That pitcher's going to come right out.
And oftentimes, when you pinch hit, it's late in a game. And you're facing, for the most part, that power arm out of the bullpen. So the chances are you're going to see some fastballs to hit. It's just a question of if you can square one up.
2 balls and a strike to Jose Bautista. Breaking ball in there, evens the count at 2-2. He and I both had a chance to play with Hal McRae, and I don't know if there was a wiser baseball player that I played with. He knew the game inside and out. Fouled off.
He really did. He had great knowledge of all aspects of the game. He was the first hitter that I was ever around where he'd come back to the dugout and he'd say, the next time he throws me that slider, watch this. And he really had an idea and was thinking all the time and studying his opposition.
2 balls and 2 strikes. Jackson strikes out Bautista.
And for the second time tonight, he's gotten Bautista with the strikeout, and it's with this pitch here that's really been his go-to pitch this evening. It's set everything up for him. It's a good, hard slider. At the bottom just falls out of it.
Two outs for Aaron Hill. Lays off the high fastball. Arizona leads at 8-1 here, top of the 6th inning. Aaron Hill still looking for a hot streak.
And sometimes you just have to relax and let the game come to you a little bit. And that might be what Aaron Hill needs to do right now.
Line drive left field. Connor Jackson on the run, and he'll haul it in. Aaron Hill's retired, and there's the mascot, Baxter. He's playing along with the 70s team. And you can catch the action starting at 1:30 p.m. Eastern Time, 10:30 p.m. Pacific Time. Of course, that's 10:30 a.m. Pacific time. Mike McCoy stays in the game to play right. Fred Lewis comes in to play center. Casey Janssen comes in to pitch. McCoy stays in the lineup in the 9th spot. Fred Lewis comes in to center in Vernon Wells' spot in the 4th spot, and the pitcher Casey Janssen goes into the 1 spot for Jose Bautista. Janssen has been very consistent for the Blue Jays. He worked 1 inning in last night's game, gave up a home run to Chris Young. Proved to be a big run as the Diamondbacks were able to add on single runs into the 6th and 7th. And the Blue Jays stormed back with a run in the 7th, a run in the 8th, 2 in the 9th, but they fell short. Pitcher Edwin Jackson 0 for 2. Popped up right side, Overbay into foul territory. Gets to the wall, reaches, but he can't reach far enough. It's into the seats. Arizona jumped on Dana Eveland for 4 runs in the 1st and 4 runs in the 2nd. Jackson strikes out. Casey Janssen racks up the strikeout. First batter he's faced here in the 6th inning. So much made about the double switch in the National League, and it's really academic. You just decide who you want to take out that's hit in the previous inning, and that's where you put the pitcher.
Well, not that there isn't strategy involved in tough decisions that have to be made. It doesn't matter if you're managing in the National League or the American League, but what often gets overlooked is that for the most part the game tells you what you have to do. The game dictates the move. Score, situation, all influence the decisions that a manager has to make.
2 balls and no strikes on the leadoff batter, Kelly Johnson. Johnson has 12 home runs, his biggest home run season, 16 when he was with the Braves. Pulled it into the seats.
Well, you can see if you watch a ball game or two or a series in this ballpark how if a hitter gets locked in and has some pop in his bat, could have a big home run season because the ball really flies in this park.
Casey Janssen strikes out the 2nd batter in this inning. Down and in. Kelly Johnson swung right over the top of it. And the ballpark dimensions, they're not small, but boy, the ball flies. I mean, you got real light air out here in the desert. It's hot. Ball jumps off the bats, and you ought to see batting practice here. And there's some balls hit places that you wouldn't imagine. Tony Abreu gets jammed. Tough play for Encarnacion, but he makes it. Casey Janssen comes out of the bullpen, does a good job. Diamondbacks go quickly in the 6th. 7 p.m. You can take pictures of your favorite Blue Jays player. Enter through gate 15. Fans must have a game ticket and their own camera to be granted admission. Gates open at 11 a.m. Photo day runs from 11:30 to 12 p.m. For more information and tickets, call 416-341-1234 or log on to bluejays.com/photo day or stop by most Rogers Plus locations. Adam Lynn starts the 7th. He's 0 for 2. The Blue Jays have finally cooled down the bats of the Diamondbacks, but it might be too late tonight. Jackson has been on his game. Just 2 hits. Gave up a leadoff double to Vernon Wells in the 2nd, and then a 1-out single to Alex Gonzalez, and nothing else. LaRoche will take it himself.
We talked a little bit about Adam LaRoche and his defensive ability at first base. One of the best defensive first basemen in baseball, and his career totals in 793 games at first base, a .995 lifetime fielding percentage, having committed just, well, now with actually just 33 errors in his career. So outstanding, very consistent defensively.
1 out for Fred Lewis, his first at bat of the night. He came on defensively, took over for Vernon Wells in center last inning. Fred Lewis, part of a 6-home run barrage for the Blue Jays, and he did it in his first at bat against Dan Herring.
That ball was not hit as hard, though, as the ball that he hit in the 9th inning last night. He hit a line drive off the center field wall. I thought his comment was interesting. When he was talking to you, you asked him which one was hit harder. He said the one off the center field wall, because he said I had both hands on my bat when I hit that one.
Yeah, he is a very intriguing talent. Certainly made the most of his playing time.
And he has, and we've seen him do it. He's learned how to turn on that ball inside. And I had a chance to watch him when he was with the Giants, and that was a weakness. He had a big hole inside, but he's really learned how to turn on that pitch.
I'll tell you one thing we heard about Fred Lewis, that he wasn't a good outfielder, and that's not true by any means. We have seen him run down balls that we expected to be gappers. He did it in Seattle to save the game. First game of that series.
Well, he came out of nowhere to get that ball. We didn't even see him in the picture. We were all focused on Vernon Wells, and we knew he wasn't going to be able to get there. And here comes Fred Lewis.
2 balls and 2 strikes. Chase the ball down. Gets away from the catcher Hester, but he'll make the throw to first for the strikeout. 7 strikeouts for the Diamondbacks right-hander Edwin Jackson.
And several of them have came with that nasty slider tonight. He has a very good one, and it is very apparent that the Jays hitters are having a lot of trouble picking that pitch up and laying off of it. He throws it very hard. He'll throw that pitch at 87, 88 miles an hour. That's a hard slider.
And it's very difficult to detect out of his hand because the spin is so tight you can't pick up any rotation. Lyle Overbay, he's been held in check tonight. Blue Jays all of a sudden looking at the possibility of a 3-game losing streak. They lost a tough one to Seattle, giving up 3 in the bottom of the ninth on Thursday. That ball almost went over the bag fair. Hit that off the end of the bat, put a lot of English on it, and it hit just short of the bag. See him looking at the end of the bat.
And if the ball had stayed fair, Overbay was in an embarrassing position because he really hadn't even left the box. Third baseman catches it and it's fair. It's trouble.
2 balls and 2 strikes, 2 outs to Lyle Overbay.
That's why they always teach you anything that there's any doubt, always run. Right. That way you'll never be embarrassed.
You'll never look bad running. I'm not sure what it is, but I'm running.
That's right. Because I know I can't go wrong as long as I run.
3 balls and 2 strikes. Interesting how Jackson gets tougher as the game goes on.
And that's just, you know, you've seen it a lot with hard throwers. If they're struggling with command early and can't get ahead in the count, lots of times they're not around too long. But as the game progressive, if you don't get him early, really begins to settle into a nice groove, find that good sharp slider. And he's been in total command this evening.
Now, last time out, Edwin Jackson had his finest performance of the season at Florida. He went 8 innings, held the Marlins to just 4 hits, shut him out, and struck out 12. Right to LaRoche. Blue Jays go quietly in the 7th. Eastern Time, 1 p.m. Pacific Time. Check sportsnet.ca for channel information. It'll be Sean Markham for the Blue Jays against Billy Buckner for the Diamondbacks, the 3rd game of this interleague weekend series. The shortstop is John McDonald, who will give Alex Gonzalez the rest of the night off. And the new pitcher, of course, is Sean Kemp. Casey Jansen with a good inning of work. A couple of strikeouts in his inning. And first pitch swinging is Connor Jackson, but he hits it right to Fred Lewis. 1 pitch, 1 out. 20th appearance for Sean Kemp here, trying to continue this pattern of zeros.
And he's been pitched very effectively out of the bullpen. 15 strikeouts and 22 in the 3rd, but you know, he added that changeup, and that's really made a big difference for him because he prior to was just a sinker slider pitcher, and that changeup's made a big difference for him. He's got another weapon that he can use and pitch that the hitters have to be conscious of and deal with.
Well, he has always had a very good slider, but he was kind of one-dimensional in that regard. So even if it's a good one, if you throw it all the time, it's not going to have that same effectiveness. And now he's using all three pitches, and he's really used the changeup as an out pitch very effectively. Justin Upton scored a couple tonight. He was walked intentionally in the second inning. "22-year-old Justin Upton, younger brother of B.J. Upton, the Tampa Bay Rays center fielder." Base hit through the left side.
And he's been swinging it in this series. Had 3 hits last night. And that's his 3rd hit in this ball game. And haven't been any cheapies either. He's hit the ball hard.
Kind of a different swing than his brother. Not so many moving parts as B.J. Upton. He's very quiet at the plate. Lets the ball travel to him, but certainly has the quickness and that bat speed. 1 out. Adam LaRoche. A couple more hits for LaRoche tonight. Off speed pitch, Overbay to second for McDonald, who won back to first, double play. So John McDonald comes in defensively and turns a very good double play to help out Sean Camp. Just 8 pitches for Camp in the inning. Overbay with that strong arm, McDonald with the quick hands. That'll be All-Star Game. That'll be held July 13th in Anaheim. Vote for your favorite Blue Jays players. Vernon Wells, Aaron Hill, and Adam Lind. Cast your vote at BlueJays.com. Fans are reminded you can vote a maximum of 25 times per email address. Vote early, vote often. Send your Blue Jays to the All-Star Game. Augie Ojeda comes on defensively to play second base in place of Kelly Johnson. And Johnson the rest of the night off, and Ojeda some playing time. John McDonald, his first at bat. He doesn't waste any time. He jumps on the first pitch and rips it in the left field for a base hit.
Just the 3rd hit allowed by that man right there, Edwin Jackson, in tonight's ball game. And anytime you get in a game late, there's a little opportunity to play. It always feels good to get yourself a base hit. See his little smile there from John McDonald. You know, at the start of this inning, over his last 15 innings of work, Jackson has given up just 6 hits and 1 run. He's been on a roll.
John Buck takes the first pitch down for a ball. Well, Jackson is that type of pitcher. He can string together some good starts. He's got a great arm, and tonight we've seen a very effective slider. That disappearing slider, the strike the ball slider that has proven so effective. Kind of an interesting guy in that he has moved from Tampa Bay, where he was part of that great team 2 years ago. Went to Detroit for a year, signed his to 1-year contract. Tampa Bay's situation was such that they had no room for him. They had so many young arms coming along, and they just moved him, opened up a spot. That ball goes off Hester's glove. He's had a tough night behind the plate.
Now, this is a ball that he should have been able to catch. It's good, a running fastball inside, and looked like hit off the side right off the side of his glove. But you know, big league catcher's supposed to catch that pitch.
And he scored a pass ball, charge it to John Hester, the catcher. So now John McDonald is in scoring position. There's that slider. So tough to lay off of. You see it out of the pitcher's hand. You see it about waist high, and you go, that's a fastball. And then by the time you cut it, it disappears.
About the time you start to swing, you see that little dot, and you realize,
oops,
I'm in trouble.
Been there.
I've already committed to the fastball, and that's not what it is.
2-2 to John Buck. Came back with a slider. Mentioned Jackson spent those good years in Tampa Bay. He arrived in 2006, pitched out of the bullpen basically, and then became a starter in 2007, but really took it to another level. 2008, 14, and 11. Pitched in the World Series in relief. Line drive left field. Connor Jackson's got to play it on a hop. John Buck has a base hit. Back-to-back base hits here in the 8th.
Well, the last pitch was the good hard slider, but John Buck had seen that enough tonight, especially in this at bat. He had seen 3 already and makes the adjustment. Pretty good pitch, but he hit it hard in the left field.
Mel Stottlemyre Jr. Of course, his father, Mel Stottlemyre Sr., was the great pitching coach for so many years. And Mel Jr. pitched in the Royals organization, and of course his brother is Todd Stottlemyre, who is such an important part of the Blue Jays run. And Todd, part of this Diamondbacks team as a pitcher himself. So it's a good opportunity for Mel Stottlemyre Jr. here with the Diamondbacks. Long drive left field. Encarnacion's hit another one. 3-run home run. Edwin Encarnacion. He's got some pop.
Yes, he does. Three last night. This one not hit as far. But first pitch fastball hitting, pulls his hands in, and that was a no-doubter. Probably say that the Arizona Diamondbacks have seen enough of Edwin Encarnacion already, and it's just in the second game of the series.
Yeah, they're going to have to pull him away from this ballpark and take him to Los Angeles to play the Angels. He's going to want to stay here for a while.
I will say this, all 3 that he has hit here, or excuse me, all 4 in this series, in any ballpark, in any league, anywhere, are gone.
Yeah. All of a sudden, he's got 6 homers. Mike McCoy bats for a second time. He came on as a pinch hitter in the 6th. You know, and this brings me back to Cito Gaston going to the mound in the second inning. talking to Danny Evelyn, saying, you know what, we're going to score some runs tonight. This club is going to score some runs. Let's just keep this at a minimum here in the second inning. Evelyn gave up a 4 spot in the first, and then they were mounting an attack in the second. Cito Gaston went to the mound and had a conversation. Said, hey, just stop them now. Make some good pitches. They weren't able to do that, and they tacked on another 4 runs in the second. Home runs allowed. Arizona now has allowed 70 home runs. My, oh my. The perils of pitching at Chase Field. Milwaukee 51. The Angels have given up 50. That's a surprising number given the quality of their pitching staff.
Now that pitching staff, the Angels, is one that has not performed very well so far this season. And if Jared Weaver was off to a so-so start, they'd be in a lot of trouble.
Jeremy Reed pitch hitting for the pitcher. Pitcher was in the 1 spot in the batting order. Reed pinch hit last night in the 7th. And he's behind Edwin Jackson, 0-2.
Well, after the fastball that was hit out of the ballpark by Encarnacion, it's been a steady diet of that pitch right there, that good hard slider that he's had all night. It's what he struck out McCoy with. And the first 2 pitches to Reed have been off speed.
John McDonald had the leadoff base hit, followed by John Buck, and then the 3-run home run by Edwin Encarnacion. His 4th in 2 games. Back-to-back strikeouts for Jackson. He now has 9. Aaron Hill was a strikeout victim in the 4th.
Well, we talked about it early in that second inning, the importance of damage control. But Dana Evelyn unable to minimize the damage.
And again, Evelyn, much like Moore last night, just battled his command. Not like he walked the ballpark. It was just poor location.
Mistakes in the strike zone in particular. And last night, in the case of Brandon Morrow, oftentimes when he threw his breaking ball, it was up, it was flat. He didn't have that real good one. That you might attribute some of that to this light air. You don't get as much bite. And he gave up 3 2-strike hits. And those always hurt. 2 of those came with the hanging breaking ball.
Wayne Murphy keeping a close eye on Aaron Hill. 3-1 pitch. Hill hits it hard to left field. This got a chance to get out of here, and it will. Aaron Hill has gone deep. His 5th home run of the season. These guys are never out of it.
Well, and if you're Aaron Hill, you can get back to the dugout and take a deep breath now, because he has struggled. Lined out hard in his last at bat. But here finally gets one. He finally hits one where they can't catch it unless they bought a ticket.
Well, it was funny in Seattle. Dwayne Murphy had talked about Hill and about this stroke. And this one, there's nobody going to catch this one. It's just deep into the seats. But he hit one in Seattle and thought that it was over Gutierrez's head. He said, catch that, and unfortunately, he did. So Jackson leaves the game. Blue Jays have made it a 3-run game here, top of the 8th. New pitcher in for the Diamondbacks in relief of Edwin Jackson is Esmerling Vasquez, making his 12th appearance of the season. He falls behind Adam Lind. 2 balls and no strikes. Blue Jays have scored 4 here in the top of the 8th. Popped up left side. Reynolds over near the wall, slides and makes the catch. Right in front of the dugout. Vasquez gets Adam Lind to pop up. Reynolds makes a nice catch in front of the Diamondbacks dugouts. Encarnacion, a 3-run home run, his 6th. Aaron Hill hits one as well. 2 home runs in the inning. It's a 3-run game. Disseminated without the express written consent of Rogers Blue Jays Baseball Partnership. Jeremy Reed came on as a pinch hitter. He will stay in defensively in left field. Jason Frazier will come on to pitch the bottom of the 8th inning. He'll be in the 3rd spot in the lineup. Blue Jays have made it interesting here late. Diamondbacks up by 3, 8-5. Mark Reynolds with an RBI double in the 1st inning. D-backs scored 4 in the 1st, 4 in the 2nd, and nothing since.
A good fastball from Frazier, right about belt high in on the hands.
Jack Howell there, the hitting coach, has done a heck of a job with this Diamondbacks team offensively. 2nd year there as a hitting coach. Jason Frazier, the 4th reliever to work here. Bullpen has done a good job. Starting with Rami Lewis, 3 2/3. Jansen had a good inning of work. Sean Kemp worked a good 7th inning, got an inning-ending double play. And now Frazier strikes out Mark Reynolds. Edwin Jackson was sailing along through 7 innings, and see, with 2 outs, they jumped on him a bit. 6 hits, 5 earned runs, including a couple of home runs, a 3-run shot to Encarnacion, a solo shot to Aaron Hill.
But much like Dan Herron last night, he didn't walk anybody. So The starting pitching the last 2 nights for the Diamondbacks they've done a very nice job of pitching well enough to win. They haven't been great, but good enough.
And both Heron and Jackson are veteran enough. There's a swing and a drive down the line. But they're both veteran enough not to get intimidated by the ballpark. They play the scoreboard very well. Last night, Heron gave up his home runs, but as you mentioned, didn't walk anybody. But you get a younger, inexperienced pitcher in here. They'll dance around home plate, worried about the home run, walk a couple guys, then they give up a 3-run homer.
Especially if you'd have been the starting pitcher tonight for the Diamondbacks and you'd had to sit and watch the 6 home runs last night. If you're a young guy, might be intimidated. But Jackson, especially once he got that lead, he pounded the strike zone, and that's exactly what you want him to do if you're the manager, A.J. Hinch, for the Diamondbacks. Don't pitch yourself into trouble. He did not do that tonight.
Well, a good pitch. One of the few times we've seen a Diamondback hitter straighten up on an inside fastball.
These hitters, well, they've not seen Jason Frazier before, and he's not big in stature, but he can throw. He can run it up there 94, 95. Has a good slider and a very good split finger. That slider there hits Young off the end of the bat. Struck out Mark Reynolds with a nasty split finger fastball.
Two balls, 2 strikes on the Diamondback center fielder. Blue Jays have made it a 3-run game. Scored 4 runs in the top of this inning. Got it.
Another good split finger fastball. And the bottom just drops out of it. You get a look at this movement. The late downward movement.
Well, that's a great example of the effectiveness of that splitter. It comes out of his hand. The pitcher throws with the fastball arm action, and then that split finger grip just creates the dive.
You don't see that pitch as much as you used to. It really was kind of the pitch of the 80s, if you will. The 70s was the slider, the 80s was the split.
Chris Suter brought it into prominence as a reliever, first for the Cubs, then with the Cardinals, and then, of course, the Tigers, the team we faced a lot with all those starting pitchers. Roger Craig was the pitching coach and taught them all the splitter. Jack Morris, Dan Petrie, Milt Wilcox, they all threw that split finger pitch very effectively.
Jack Morris had a great one.
Some people believe that the split finger puts an undue pressure on your elbow because there's not the resistance that you would have with that normal fastball. So when your elbow comes through and you extend, it creates some problems for your pitcher's elbow. I don't know how true that is. They say the same thing about a cutter. You throw too many cut fastballs, you're going to lose your fastball.
Well, they used to say the same thing about the slider.
Yeah.
Remember, the slider was hard on the elbow. I think anybody that goes out there and pitches a lot of innings at the major league level, you're going to have arm trouble at some point, no matter what. Unless you're just one of the very fortunate few. You put that much pressure on your arm, that much wear and tear, you're just going to have a breakdown from time to time.
Yeah, if you're going to break, you're going to break. No matter what pitch you throw.
And some guys break after 300, 400, 500 innings. Some guys go out a little longer than that. I think some of it is just body type, genetics factor in.
Mister's putting up a tough fight here. 2 strikeouts to begin the inning for Jason Frazier. The catcher is putting up a little fight. Twist off the plate outside. The Diamondbacks have had only one hit since the second.
The bullpen's been outstanding. Rami Lewis last. Came into the ballgame, struck out Reynolds, and Chris Young bounced the ball through the infield with 2 out and the bases loaded. But since then, this Jays bullpen has been dead on.
Now Lewis even struck out Hester to strand a couple too. So Cito Gaston couldn't ask that his bullpen do any more than what they've done for him tonight. Two-out walk. Rusty Rao will come on as a pinch hitter, batting for the pitcher Vasquez. So Vasquez works just 1/3 of an inning and gets Adam Lind to pop up to end the 8th. Two outs, bottom of the 8th inning. Arizona hanging on. 8-5. Blue Jays trying to throw up another 0. Diamondbacks haven't scored since the second. Rusty Ryle is hitless in his last pinch hitting appearances. There's a force out at second, and Jason Frazier does a good job here in the 8th. Blue Jays are going to try to mount a comeback. They're down by 3 going to the 9th. Brought to you by Moosehead, Canada's premium lager. Chad Qualls comes on to pitch the 9th inning, trying to protect the 3-run lead. You can see he has 8 saved, but he's blown 3 opportunities. He'll deal with Lewis Overbay and John McDonald, scheduled here in the 9th.
Well, anytime you're the closer and the opposition's hitting .354 against you, That's not good. He had 24 saves last year for the Diamondbacks.
Fred Lewis struck out in his first at bat. He came on defensively, replacing Vernon Wells.
Well, and if you're Cito Gaston and the Jays, you have to be thinking, if we can just get a couple on and get it back to Encarnacion again and give him an at bat here in this inning. You never know.
Top of the strike zone, 2-1. And that's exactly what they're saying on the Blue Jays bench. Hey, let's work. Now let's get on base. Let's set the table. See if we can't stretch this thing out. Aaron Hill hit a home run in that 4-run 8th inning. They just like to get a couple on and give somebody a shot. Second base, Augie Ojeda in the dirt, but dug out by LaRoche. Stay tuned after the game for Connected. Flyers and Habs Game 3 and all the Major League highlights from the first weekend of interleague play. Right after the game, it's Connected. Lyle Overbay hitless in 3 trips. He picked up an RBI in the 2nd inning when he grounded out to drive home Vernon Wells. A ball and a strike. Edwin Jackson went 7 2/3. Esmerling Vasquez closed out the 8th, pitched a 1/3 of an inning. Now Chad Qualls. All the damage done early. Starting pitcher Dana Evelyn was charged with 8 runs on 8 hits in just an inning and a 1/3. Three balls and a strike. Blue Jays need base runners.
Which, that's not the approach that the Jays have here. 3-1. Have to believe that if Overbay gets a pitch to his liking, he'll be swinging.
Swinging and reaching base with a base hit. A 1-out single for Overbay.
And there's one. Now if you can just get one more to the play on base, that's going to give Encarnacion a chance to hit in this inning.
And don't discount the on-deck hitter, John Buck. Cito Gaston knows that Buck can run into one too. John Buck has 8 home runs. There's still a lot of thunder bottom part of this order, and it's got the Diamondbacks dugout stirring. John McDonald came on defensively, and he singled and scored in his first at bat. That came in the 8th inning. Capped foul. 0-2. Struck him out. Good pitch down and away. Qualls strikes out McDonald.
Good tight slider.
John Buck trying to keep things alive. He singled in his last at bat. Breaking ball catches the inside corner. No balls and a strike. 2 outs here. Top of the 9th.
Ball fouled off at the plate. Another slider. So it's been back-to-back sliders to John Buck. And now Qualls is in the driver's seat, ahead in the count to John Buck, which gives him an opportunity here with these next couple of pitches to make sure he buries him, gets him in the spot that he wants. Don't make a mistake here. 0-2.
Blue Jays down to their last strike. Just missed inside. This tough breaking ball. Gets on top of it, creates a lot of downward angle. And that ball kind of backed up and came inside. Ron Buck got a piece of it, stays alive.
That's exactly where you, if you're Qualls, you want that pitch. You want to start it just in the strike zone. It's definitely a pitch he has a lot of confidence in. He struck John McDonald out with it, and that is all that John Buck has seen in this at bat.
One and 2. Strikes him out. Ball gets away from Hester. Throw to first base for the out. Arizona has won it on the strength of back-to-back 4-run innings, first and second. Cito Gaston's team came back. A couple of home runs late in the ball game, but not enough. They fall short for a second time. We'll be back to Chase Field with more in the wrap-up after this.